Welcome to the Knowledge Catalog, and in this video we are going to tackle what are the parts of the introduction in an APA 6 paper. Let's start. The first part is the theoretical or conceptual framework. Two terms are not research design specific. These two terms are never research design specific. In other words, it is not so that one belongs to the qualitative paradigm while the other to the quantitative one. Though the terms might have been used interchangeably, in fact, they refer to different things. The theoretical framework in a study is based on an existing theory or theories. Say, for instance, a theory of motivation. The conceptual framework, on the other hand, is something you can develop yourself based on this theory, on the theoretical framework nga. So you inevitably would use some, if not all, concept that this theory operates with. In addition, in your conceptual framework, you can add your own concept, constructs, variables that you think are relevant, and then proceed to explore or test the relationship between them. The second part is the paradigm of the study. It is the conceptual lens through which the researcher examines the methodological aspects of their research project to determine the research methods that will be used and how the data will be analyzed. The third part, this is quite long, so bear with me. The research problems. It has several purposes. Okay, the first purpose is that it introduces the reader to the importance of the topic being studied. Okay, the statement of the problems, that is the first thing they do. The reader is oriented to the significance of the study and the research questions or hypotheses to follow. The second purpose is that it places the problem into a context that defines the parameters of what is to be investigated. The third one, it provides a framework for reporting the results and indicates what is probably necessary to conduct this study and explain how the findings will present this information. In the social sciences, say tayo in education, the research problem establishes how you must answer the so what question. The so what question refers to a research problem surviving the relevancy test, the quality of a measurement procedure that provides repeatability and accuracy. Note that in answering the so what question, requires a commitment on your part to not only show that you have researched the material, but that you have thought about its significance. Okay, to survive this so what question, the statements of the problem, the statements of the problem must be clear and precise. So a well-written statement does not make sweeping generalizations and irresponsible statements. You have to be clear about what you want, what you mean, and then you have to also precise about it. Then the second one is that what would be studied must be identified while avoiding the use of value-laden words and terms. You have to avoid being talking about morality in your study when it doesn't really have to talk about that in the first place. Next one, overarching questions and key factors and variables must be identified too in the statements of the problem. Next one, the key concepts and the terms must be identified. So, dapat hindi mawawala dun yung mga key concepts at saka yung mga terminologies na paulit-ulit actually na dapat magamit throughout your research manuscript. So the study's boundaries and parameters must also be identified. Kailangan yung scope and delimitation is also being reinforced in the statement of the problem. And then there must be some degree of generalizability regarding the applicability and bringing results into general use. Well, it may be your first time to encounter the term generalizability, but it simply means that you have to make sure that the results of the research is going to be useful for a really wide array of audiences. So, kailangan marami yung mga pwedeng mag-benefit from the results of the research. Okay, so the study's importance, the benefits, and the justification must be explicitly conveyed. Hindi sila yung parang you need to read like 5 times for you to realize how important the research is. So regardless of the type of research, it is important to address the so what question by demonstrating that the research is not trivial. So the next one, it must not have unnecessary jargon. Well, especially in some highly technical researches, baka, well, hindi maiiwasan ng jargon. But as much as possible, if we are going to use one, we have to make sure that we are going to effectively define the term. We have to stop like thinking na everyone understands that kind of word. Okay, that's not actually how. That's not actually true. Then the last one, for the so what test to survive it, it must convey more than just data gathering, conveyance, or more than the mere gathering of descriptive data, providing only a snapshot of the issue or phenomenon under investigation. So there are 4 general conceptualizations anyway of a research problem. If these guidelines are going to help you survive the so what test, kung gaano ba ka-relevant, gaano ba ka-important yung research natin, these 4 general conceptualizations naman, they are sort of like categories of research problems. So the first type is the causist research problem. Root word natin dyan is cause. So this type of problem relates the determination of right and wrong in questions of conduct or conscience by analyzing moral dilemmas through the application of general rules and the careful distinction of special cases. So there are things there are problems that can be identified by using these kinds of research problems, causist. The next one is difference research problem. So typically, it asks the question, is there significant difference between 2 or more groups or treatments? This type of problem is used when the researcher compares or contrasts 2 or more phenomena. Say, you want to know kung meron bang significant difference sa achievement ng mga grade 7 when it comes to math and science. That is a difference research problem, especially if you're trying to compare 2 things. The next one is descriptive research problem. It typically asks the question, what is, with the purpose of to describe a situation, state, or existence of a specific phenomenon. The last conceptualization is relational research problem. So this suggests a relationship of some sort between 2 or more variables to be investigated. The purpose is to investigate qualities or characteristics that are connected in some way. I remember that, one of my research professors, some masterate, she told me that this is like the next there's this basic level of description, tapos there's this next level of description, which is relational. So the statements of the problem are going like, is there any significant relationship between the scores of students in mathematics and their scores in science? That is a relational research problem. But if you're going to be like significant and kaso difference, then that is difference research problem. So yeah. And then the last part is going to be hypothesis. So in the hypothesis, the hypothesis actually is a tentative statement. Okay, so you may actually say that it's an educated guess, pero that may not be enough to fully grasp. Okay, so paano ako susulat ng hypothesis now? Okay, so now we're talking about it. It is a tentative statement about the relationship between 2 or more variables. It is a specific, testable prediction about what you expect to happen in a study. For example, a study designed to look at the relationship between sleep deprivation and test performance might have a hypothesis that states, this study is designed to assess the hypothesis that sleep-deprived people will perform worse on a test than individuals who are not sleep-deprived. So yeah, that's a working hypothesis. So the hypothesis basically is a prediction, but it involves more than just a guess, okay? It's an educated guess. Most of the time, the hypothesis begins with a question which is then explored through background research. It is only at this point, okay, after being able to do some background research, that researchers begin to develop a testable hypothesis. Unless you are creating an exploratory study, your hypothesis should always explain what you expect to happen, because exploratory studies usually don't really have this idea of what on earth is going to happen. So unless your study is just like that, then you should know, okay, or you should have an idea, okay, what to expect. You should have an expectation, in other words. So this is CJ, and I hope that this video of the knowledge catalog has helped you understand these basic concepts. Again, I hope I'll be seeing you in the next video. Goodbye.